In this group of problems, the task is to determine if the statement forms are logically equivalent. And we are constructing a truth table and including a sentence to justify the answer. So, in this one, we have P or the expression P and Q. And then we're going to compare that to P. So I'll make a truth table for the compound expression P or P and Q. And let's take a look at that. So I'll start off with my two variables, P and Q. And then we have P and Q within parentheses, so I'll make a column for that. And then I'll make a column for the entire statement. Here we go. And keep in mind that when we are putting in the truth values for P and Q, I always put them in the same order. True, true, false, false. And then the Q alternates, true, false, and this way we get every possible pairing. So now we have P and Q. Remember from the basic conjunction truth table that P and Q is true when both components are true and false every other time. And now I'm going to take column 3. Let's label these 1, 2, and 3. And so column 4 that we're constructing here is really 1 or 3. So what I'm doing is let's see if I can do this. I'm covering up column 2. Okay, so we've got column 2 covered up. I don't want to look at column 2 at the moment. And now I can fill in the truth values for 1 or 3. So I look at true or true, and that's true. True or false. As long as there's any truth in it, the or statement is going to be true. And then I have false or false for both rows 3 and 4. So I'm going to fill in false for both of those. Okay. So now, let's see. There we go. All right, so now I've brought back my whole truth table. I'm looking at the whole thing. And what I want to do is I want to compare the final column that we got for P or P and Q. And I'm comparing that to P. And I see that the truth values are always the same. We have true and true, 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 false, 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 false. So they match, so my statement is simply going to be, since the truth values are the same, for each row, the statements are equivalent. Squeeze that in at the bottom there. Equivalent. There we go. Okay, so that ends problem 16. Now let's take a look at number 18. Now for this problem, we're comparing P or T with T. So I only have one variable because T just represents the statement true. So actually, I really just want to look at, well, yeah, let's do this. Okay, so we have P can be true or false, and if I have P or T, then we're just combining the value of P with true. So true or true is going to be true, and false or true is also true. So the value of P or T is always true, so these two statements are equivalent. So I'll say the same thing that I did in the last one. Since the two statements always have the same truth value for every row of the truth table, they are logically equivalent. Let's take a look at the next one. Here we have number 21, and now I have P and Q and R, and I'm comparing that to P and Q and R. So we'll make a truth table, and I'll just make the one truth table for both of these statements. That way, kind of save a little effort there, and it's actually a lot easier to compare and see what's going on. Okay, so I start off with my three basic variables, P, Q, and R. And for the first statement, we have P and Q. And then we can form the whole thing by taking P and Q and joining that to R with an AND connector. Then for the second statement, we have Q and R. And then we'll join that to P. So what we're looking to see is the AND operation associative? So remember that from your numbers. If you have 2 plus, in parentheses, 3 plus 5, that is equivalent to, it always gives you the same result as if you have 2 plus 3 in parentheses, and then with the 5 added on the end. Okay. So here we go, and fill in my truth values. Now, since I have 3 variables, there are going to be 8 rows to my truth table. So the first half are true for P, and the second half are false. And then the Q's are going to go 2 trues, 2 falses, 2 trues, 2 falses, and then R just alternates true and false. Okay. Now, we have P and Q, so I'm joining together columns 1 and 2 with an AND. So this is going to give me true, true, and then the rest are going to be false because we have some false in there. Now, I'm going to take the result that I just got and combine that with column 3. So let's see, this would be column 4. So this is 4 and 3, which makes column 5. All right. So, true and true gives me true. And now I'm scanning the rest of them. And in each case, I have at least one false, and that means I'm just going to put false for each one of those. False, 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 false. So the only way for P and Q and R to be true is if all 3 of those are true. Now let's look at Q and R. And this is column 2. Oops. Okay. Column 2 and column 3. This is making column 6. All right. So Q and R, we have true and true for the first one, and then we have true and false. So that'd be false. Then we have true and true again. Is that right? Nope. False and true. So that's false. And then false and false. Now we have true and true again, and then false, false, false. Okay. So now for my final column, I'm going to join together column 1 and column 6 that we just created. This will make column 7. And I'm looking at true and true, and that makes true. And in every other case, let's see, we have true, true, true here for P, but these three are all false. So I'm going to have false, false, false there. And now the rest of the P's are false. So more falses going down the line. So what we want to compare is column 5 with column 7. And again, each truth value is the same for each row, so these are logically equivalent. One more. We've got P and Q or R and P and Q or R. So let's see if these turn out to be logically equivalent as well. Again, we have 3 variables, which means 8 rows. And if you're writing this by hand, it is a whole lot easier if you make a nice grid here. Let's see if I can do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I'm going to squeeze it in there. This way I'll stay more in alignment. All right, so again, true, 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 false. Okay, so I filled in all the truth values for P, Q, and R. So now we're ready to go with P and Q. So P and Q, well, we have true, true, and then false, false, false down the line, just like in the last problem. Now, let's see. So this is columns 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now we're combining 4 with 3, and we're using OR. So if there's any true in it, it's going to turn out true. So we have true, 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 false, true, false, true, false. Oops. False. There we go. All right. So that is column 5. Now for Q or R, now we're taking columns 2 and 3 and combining them with OR. This will form column 6. All right, so 2 or 3. So again, this is an OR, so if there's any truth in it at all, it's true. So we have true, 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 false, true, 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 false. Oops, there we go, false. Okay, so now for the last column, I have column 1 and column 6 that we just created. This will make column 7. So we're ANDing together 1 and 6. So if there is any false in it at all, it turns out false. So we get true, 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 false, 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 and false. Okay. So now I need to compare columns 5 and 7 together. Those are the two expressions that we're looking at. And do they always have the same truth value? So for row 1 they do, 2, 3, and 4, so looking good so far. But then we get to row 5, and true versus false, not the same. I don't have to keep looking. As soon as you have one different truth value in the same row, they can't be logically equivalent. So I would say these are not logically equivalent. Let's write this up. I'm going to have to go to a fresh page. Do I have to do that? No, let's do this. Okay, so the statements are not logically equivalent. Statements are not logically equivalent. I'll just abbreviate there. Because when, let's see, that was row 5, so that was where, sorry, I'm moving this around a little bit. So row 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, here, where P is false and Q and R are both true. These statements have different truth values. And that's the end of that. I'm a slow writer. Different truth values.